So I was watching NBC News last night and I saw a 30-second story on country of origin labeling for meat. Now, I knew why this was happening because I had read about it before, but NBC News did not explain why this happened. The only thing they did was tell us that it happened. I mean, that's like not reporting that a tornado destroyed a bunch of trailers in a trailer park. It's like just saying something like a bunch of trailers were destroyed in a trailer park. They reported the results and not the actual cause or the reason why. Now, what they just said in the news story is that stores aren't going to be required or won't be putting country or of origin labeling on meat, which is helpful to people who want to buy food that comes from this country or whatever. Anyway, the point of this dialogue is just going to be me telling you why there's no more country of origin labeling for meat. This is something that you should be actually learning from like our news media and not from a guy like me, just talking on the internet. And also, if you want to know more about it, I'm going to put a link in my description below so you can actually read an article, which is one of the articles I read. Anyway, here it goes. Apparently, we have really shitty trade agreements. And because of one of our shitty trade agreements, the House voted to repeal country of origin labeling for meat. Why would they do that? Why would the House of Representatives vote to repeal country of origin labeling for beef, pork, and chicken meat? Well, basically, the bill was introduced the same day the World Trade Organization, which we are part of, rejected a U.S. appeal of its decision that COOL fairly discriminates against meat imports and gives advantage to domestic meat products. COOL, which went into effect for meat in 2013, required that packaging indicated the country where animals were born, raised, and slaughtered. Now, the actual reason that COOL was repealed was because we, the U.S., were being subjected to about $3.5 billion in potential retaliatory tariffs, right? And they were sought by Canada and Mexico, part of a trade agreements. Canada and Mexico's argument was that the rule where they have to label the country of origin for meat was discriminatory against them. And the argument that, it was no big deal to repeal COOL was basically that mandatory food labeling is not about food safety. Wherever food comes from, the regulations remain the same, and food safety is ensured either way, right? Now, even though consumers want COOL, and 90% of Americans favored having labels with the country of origin, COOL was repealed anyway. We basically just had to cave. Now, this is part of what's going on in the world that we don't really know or hear about, and there's going to be this really big trade agreement signed, or actually, I think it has been signed. It's a TPP, the Trans-Pacific Pact, or something like that. Check me on that. Anyway, what happened in this case is that a trade agreement forced us to change our laws. And we had to introduce a bill to repeal COOL, which basically shows that a bad trade agreement can have a direct effect on our national sovereignty. Because we were threatened by these billions of dollars in fines, right, which we would have to come up with and pay, and these were imposed on us by other countries because of what I said was a shitty trade agreement, right? We, like I said before, had to change our laws, to be in sync with this trade agreement we had. So anyway, now you know something that wasn't on the news, that they didn't want to talk about, that they didn't want you to know, that we are making bad trade agreements. That's why we don't have any jobs here in the U.S., any manufacturing jobs or jobs like that, because they go outside the country where people are paid less. And then we have to compete with these workers in other countries that make so much less that corporations don't want to employ people in this country anymore. And basically these really terrible trade agreements are just hurting us, the American people.